Kilian, would you like to share some thoughts on that?
Sorry, I was actually having lunch at the same time. Now I'm back. Okay.
Welcome back.
Hi. Okay. And, I think, and also for those who may have joined since then, we're talking about the need to look at people on the move from a different aspect, from a different perspective. We need to move away from looking at those as a new species who's just landed on Earth and in the middle of places and so on. They're part of an interconnected world, which, however, despite all the connections, is not as connected as we would think and hope for in the 21st century. So there's an absolute need to create the tools and instruments so that people from different backgrounds and from different ideas with the solutions for what I would call rather opportunities rather than needs. Needs is negative. Demands are negative. I mean, it's much more an opportunity which needs to be seized and developed together. Moving away from the geek and the geek world, and where people sort of constantly have solutions for somebody else. It's a question of how we create solutions together and with each other, with different aspects, with different perspectives, with different backgrounds. And again, keeping in mind that out of the 7.5 billion people or so on Earth, most people are not as digital as we think for the moment, but there are examples of where that has happened. I mean, I'm looking at Rwanda, for instance, as an example where, I mean, I would say a rather robust government, to be gentle, has actually created a world in which suddenly, because the man has said, the leader has said, well, if we continue that way, and being in an overpopulated poor country with subsistence agriculture as the background, we will kill each other again. So we need to move into the next millennium, and so every single village in Rwanda is gradually being connected to a cable network and so on and so forth. So here in that context, we need to look at this as well. What are the tools to help Lesbos, including currently, and hopefully that will reduce at some point, 25,000 newcomers. How to connect Lesbos also with the 21st century, to connect Lesbos with the ideas, the tools, the technologies, and actually work together on these opportunities an island in the Aegean and the Mediterranean has, regardless whether it's Greek, Turkish, Tunisian, or Italian, or whatever. So we need to look at that, of how to vitalize and how to enable things to happen there, which should be happening anyway. More sustainable ways of energy generation, waste management, environmental issues, a more responsible tourism, jobs of the future, etc., etc. So that's where we were in the last discussion in a way, and that's where we need to continue working on the instruments of how to make that happen. How to make that co-creation happen. And I think we're seeing different tools, different instruments emerging. We talked about sort of an immediate use of the multitude of virtual platforms and so on. Again, my concern is that not everybody feels comfortable with this and has access to this. And it's, again, sort of a limited community usually. There was my proposal to move that and really anchor that underground at the beach, ideally in Lesbos, with a location where we build bridges, where all sorts of people can come together, and it's not limited to one or the other sort of groupings and typology of people. Yes, it will be about digital nomads, it will be about startups, but it will be also how basically the olive tree grower from Lesbos can actually go in there and well, things that it's interesting for him that there is new ways of looking at olive processing. By the way, my lunch was prepared with salt from Lesbos.
Oh,
Salt, yes.
really?
More than Lesbos.
That's from Colony. That's fantastic. That's in Tunisia, out of all places.
Yeah, they brought it back from Amsterdam. So I mean, that's again about global connectivity.
Love of Lesbos. Lots of Lesbos.
Lots of Lesbos is here in Tunis with me.
Fantastic.
So I was thinking about this when I was putting my salt on my turkey breast. So I mean, anyway, so that's sort of the first two instruments we have been discussing, and I think it is now time that maybe Gerd talks about the concept of co-creation in an accelerator, which is in fact the moonshot concept. And then, of course, all of these things need and can and must flow together, and build up that sort of that interconnectivity between the many things which are going on, taking people out of their silos, breaking up these barriers, building these bridges. And that is, I think, the task we are here together to discuss in this forum.
Perfect.